Hello, for today's video I've prepared a compilation of 10 most powerful quotes by Dr. Gavin Wood, the founder of Polkadot. I promise you will love every single one of them. This video is simply a tribute to Gavin Wood, and I selected the quotes of his that resonated with me the most. In the first quote, Gavin explains what benefits Web3 provides over Web2 that is heavily based on trust.
Really what Web3 is about is it's about providing tools to people so that they don't need to go through these intermediaries of massive, unprecedented power in order to do their day-to-day things that they want to do, whether it's, buy their groceries and get it delivered to their door, or whether it's just to share some photos with a friend. Blockchain technology, which forms a big pillar of this concept of the trustless technology, which if you want a very quick definition is basically like how if I don't know, if I didn't know you, but I wanted to do some sort of deal with you, how could we arrange to do that deal, just the two of us, without bringing in a third party that we both trust, right? That deal without trusting each other, without trusting that the other one is definitely going to pay us, or without trusting that the other one is definitely going to give us the service or the goods. How do we do that deal?
The next quote follows on the previous one. Here Gavin explains how Web2 is built around big tech companies, giving them unlimited power over users' privacy and data.
Web3 for me is decentralization. It's openness, it's transparency, and it's the ability to have absolute technical guarantees on what your expectations are and ensure that they be met. I should not need to trust Facebook in order to send a message to my friend. This idea of building trust into everything is lazy, right? It comes about from laziness. It's because it's easier to architect something if you give yourself the right of God as the developer, as the service provider. It's harder to do it when you don't. But that's nonetheless what we should be doing in this era where we have people, very powerful people in the world that are doing their best to try to kill off the concept of a free society. We have no choice but to enshrine these guarantees of privacy and these basic rights into software, into the very technology that we use, so that it cannot be worked around, and no individual can be lent upon to break these rules. This is crucial if the free world is going to survive.
The next one is from Davos last year, where Gavin Wood compared how long it took to build Ethereum and how much longer and more complex it was to build Polkadot.
I built the original version of Ethereum, like C++ Ethereum, back in early 2014. I don't know. I got something working after a month or two, right? And that was pretty much just me. And it's taken me and a whole load of really great engineers 4+ years to build Polkadot. And it's not that we had, I don't know, some sort of terrible car accident at the beginning and we were just like debilitated or something. No, it take like the engineering effort required for this. Plus we have a research team working behind us, making sure that, what we're doing is sensible, what we're doing is actually secure. It takes a long time. Like building it right, getting it right takes time. And if you see people like touting that, hey, we've got a solution already, it only took us 6 months, like, that's very unlikely to be the breakthrough that they're suggesting it is.
Moving on to Polkadot, here Gavin describes Polkadot's sharded infrastructure with its application-specific parachains and what's Polkadot's main advantage over Ethereum, which is a general-purpose blockchain.
With Polkadot, the other thing that came to mind was, well, we can try, if we have 100 different parachains, 100 different shards, and we can try 100 different things at the same time. With Polkadot, you can have a shard that is it's great at doing accounts, and another shard that's like great at handling, I don't know, NFTs, and another shard that's great at doing reputation stuff, and another shard that's great at doing governance stuff, right? And these are domain specific, which means they can get through their workload faster. So we get scalability through the performance gains which are delivered by not being general. So a platform like Ethereum, very general, through its smart contracts, it's like jack of all trades, but master of none. So the idea was to say, right, well, in Polkadot, we can have some jack of all trades chains, sure, but let's have some master chains as well that are really good at doing some particular thing, very performant at doing some particular thing.
In this one, Gavin outlines Polkadot's future capabilities in terms of scalability that will allow for almost unlimited TPS.
At the moment, we're aiming for Polkadot to have of the order of about 1 million transactions per second that it can support under its primary consensus. So basically with the same level of security as the Polkadot relay chain. Yeah, I think aiming it over the next 3 to 5 years for like having in the hundreds of millions of transactions per second is where we should be looking, while retaining decentralization. It's certainly way or higher orders of magnitude than Visa would be able to process. So if Visa is any kind of yardstick, then yeah, it's we're definitely looking to push that by maybe a 1,000x.
Here Gavin jumps into a very timely topic lately, crypto regulation. He notes how sensible regulation of Web3 space can eventually be a good thing, helping to distinguish legit and truly decentralized projects from those centralized ones.
What will happen with DeFi is, in my opinion, what will happen with everything else. You must be either truly decentralized, or you will be required to be licensed to do KYC, AML, and generally smothered with regulations. I think this is, broadly speaking, as long as the regulations protect technologists, I think this is, broadly speaking, a good thing, because it will require projects to actually decentralize. And actual decentralization is the only way how these projects can survive in the long term, because they will otherwise fall prey to all sorts of weaknesses of centralization. And if it takes some regulations to kick these projects to become decentralized, or admit that they are actually centralized and get licenses, fine. That in my mind is a good watershed moment.
Here he jumped into some of the most discussed topics in the Polkadot ecosystem: the speed of development, adoption, and user experience.
I think when you're building new technology, there's a certain order to things. And when you're building foundational technology, the order is pretty important. The first thing that you need to do is make sure that it's safe and secure, right? If the technology isn't safe and secure, then you're already lost. The second thing that you need to do is you need to make it functional, right? So it has to actually do something that's useful for people. People actually need to want to use it for a job that they need sorting. The third thing that you need to do is you need to make it joyous and convenient, right? That's the last thing. It is a thing that you need to do, but it's the last thing that you need to do. And it's very important that you don't do it before the other two, right? If you do it before it's functional, then you're going to just get a lot of people, they'll try it out, they'll think, oh yeah, I had a great fun using it, but I don't need to use it, so they go away again. And if you do it before the first one, then you will lose all confidence once the first major security or safety incident happens. So what we're seeing is that this new technology is first being sort of prototyped, and we're working out, like, how safe really is this? How much value can really be stored? How many people, can really, when they're using it in all sorts of different circumstances, do they, are they all having their expectations provided in an acceptable fashion? And so far, at the base level, with like high quality protocols, they have been broadly successful experiments.
So that was a good segue into the next one, where Gavin discussed what Web3 apps will look like in the future.
It's like, wait, I have to download this and I have to configure that and I have to go here and there. It's it's relatively complex to use a sort of truly Web3 app in a safe, secure, decentralized manner. But in the fullness of time, then I think the services, the Web3 services that sort of will come to be used will be largely indistinguishable in terms of user experience from like Web 2 services, the main points of differentiation will be maybe a little bit more information delivered through the service, probably if it's done properly in a fairly subtle fashion, that users will kind of pick up on a lot of the time subconsciously, but that won't impact the overall sort of service. I mean, if we start thinking about maybe a Web3 version of Twitter, it's going to start looking like something which I have control over my posts. So I don't know, maybe I can remove them all if I choose. Maybe if maybe there's like an increased amount of awareness about where the posts come from, so it's much harder for someone to like fake my identity because we have like cryptographic based proofs that I have done this, and only I could possibly have done this. Probably elements of sort of greater like freedom of speech that would make their way into there, in the sense that the system isn't going to inherently have gatekeepers that in the same way that there are Twitter employees that act effectively as gatekeepers to the system.
The next one could be quite controversial for users from other ecosystems, but the truth is, only truly revolutionary crypto projects can fix the web.
Be aware of the distinction, the difference between evolution and revolution. I know, as having done Ethereum, we brought a sort of new kind of architecture into the world with Ethereum, this idea of the Ethereum virtual machine, the idea of smart contracts. Proud as I am about that, it is ultimately, it's technology that's now 6-7 years old. And we're still seeing blockchains sticking to the architecture, sticking to this, very smart contract, gas consuming, dynamically metered architecture that we introduced in Ethereum way back then. So that's all very well, and you will see evolution on that. You will see people improving performance. You will see some changes to things like transaction propagation, just trying to eke out that sort of improved level of transaction throughput. But ultimately, if it's using the same architecture, it's probably not going to be a revolutionary difference in a revolutionary innovation. And you've got to look beyond that architecture to really find the gems in this.
And the final quote comes from his TED Talk, where he was talking about the current flawed system that is based on opaque, big institutions and governments with unlimited power.
And I put it to you that in the future, trusting an opaque institution, a middleman, merchant, or intermediary with our interests will be as archaic a concept as reckoning on IABCUS is today.
So there you have it, powerful stuff, right? So don't forget, Polkadot is not just some average Web3 project with limited lifetime and with recycled, outdated blockchain architecture like some other networks. Polkadot is the project that aims to change and fix the web as we know it, led by Dr. Gavin Wood, who, as you could just hear, is a true genius, visionary, and perhaps the greatest Web3 computer scientist ever. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.